Hello, it's Katie here, and I am coming at you with a new video. This is the last week of our rocket spaceship ride that we're doing in Santorini Stones by Shelley, and I am the fourth week, and we're doing aliens. So I am hand drawing this alien just out of my head. This is totally freehand, trying to draw how I want it, and you'll see that I make a lot of mistakes, but that's okay because I have my trusty little white eraser out and I just keep erasing and redrawing until I'm happy with it. So every month or few months, we do a different ride in Santorini Stones by Shelley. We've done trains and cruises and anything you can think of. And this month we did a rocket spaceship ride. So we try to change it up and make it different. So now I'm coloring in the eyes with just plain old apple barrel black. It's super matte and I like that. I'm using a number 6 round Princeton brush. I don't use it for much, but that kind of larger work. So I lined out the chin and where the armpits areas are. And now I'm making the mouth. And again, this is still all apple barrel black. And as you see, I did the background also. I didn't do all that on camera because that was just me painting black everywhere. This is ultramarine and the gouache by Arteza, and all I'm doing right now is blocking in the colors. So you're going to see me block in the ultramarine, and then now I'm blocking in the violet. And so I tend to do that because it's gouache. Gouache is really easy to blend, and so I can block my colors in and then go back and start blending, and it works magnificently. So the requirements this week is an alien and writing, which you'll see I have a quote on my rock towards the end of the video, and a peace sign and stars. So those are the requirements this week. Right here in the middle I added more water, and I just wanted to lighten that up a bit. It looks super chunky, and you know how your video or your painting will go through its ugly stages, so to speak, and this is where it is, but you're going to see it come together in just a minute. I'm just working it. I have a scruffy brush now. That's a very important piece to my paint brushes, is my scruffy brushes, because I do a lot of blending with them. And all I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of darker and going around the edges and starting to fill that face in and just make it look more blended. And any place that I need dark, and if you see a spot, sometimes when it gets really wet it doesn't want to dry, so I'll put a little dark on it, let it sit for a minute, and then it dries. Now I'm using the titanium white and gouache. I have my scruffy brush, and I'm mostly doing this with dry gouache. I don't have much water on my brush at all, and I'm just mashing it into the violet, and that's why I love gouache so much. Typically you can't use it completely dry, but for blending and scruffy brush painting, it tends to work well for me. So I went in and put some violet around the armpit areas and the bend of the arm, and I traced in the thumb, and then I added a little bit of white to it, and I'm filling in his body. So I'm going to be working on highlighting and shadowing to get the ridges in the neck and the ridges in the body. And you'll notice, I'll add a little dark just like that, and then I'll go back and I'll add a little bit of light, and then I go back and then I blend. And yeah, it works. But yeah, I did a lot of scruff brush painting on this particular tutorial, and I have several of them, and I don't use good brushes to make them. I use brushes that are used and abused, and they end up getting smashed on their own because that's how I blend mostly. So as you see, I drew in a dark spot, like lining out, making lines for the chest, and then I'm going in and adding white, and then you're going to see I'm going to go back in with dark, and I'm going to start making all those shadows on his chest. So this is kind of like watching or reading a book, you know. It just goes in stages, and that's kind of how blending is. You block it out, then you add dark, you add light, you go back, you work it all out. I put those little ridges in his neck, and now I'm working on the chest ridges. So I went in with dark, I went in with light, now I'm going back in with dark, and then light, and then I blend. And see how it just all starts coming together. So once I get done with the body part, I'll go back up to the face and work more on the face after it's dried some. So I'm lightening the chin area and up through the middle. And this is when I start really fine-tuning the face and getting it to exactly where I want it. And I just will add a little dark, I'll add a little bit of light, just until I'm happy with what it looks like. And I wanted a little chin shine just to be funny. I put in the little dark curve and made a little chin. But why not, right? I mean, that's an alien, you know, throwing the peace sign out, so gotta be a little fun with it. I know it looks silly right now with the blue outline, but you'll see here in a minute it's all going to come together. Now I'm retouching the mouth, and you'll see that I do that with the eyes and the mouth over and over. Retouch, and clean up where I've gotten paint. I'm adding some black in around the fingers when I was doing my shading. Going back over the eyes. So I decided to lengthen those fingers a little bit, so I just used my Posca 1MR to do that. And I just lengthened them a little bit higher, and then I'm going to go blend them in. Now I decided to add a little bit of a ultramarine blue highlight around his body. It's more of a low light though, on camera it looks like, but I kind of just wanted him to have that blue outline since I outlined his face. It's not real bright, as noticeable as the face, but at least it'll kind of be there. Now I'm using some neon pink, and the particular item that I'm using is Wanda's neon gouache, but you can definitely use any neon that you have. And I'm just re-outlining each side down to the chin with it. And now I'm using neon green in the same line, Wanda's neon green gouache on the top. And then now I'm going over it with the pink, over that blue line that I just made. And it just gives them a little extra glow. So I'm outlining his peace sign in green, and then you're going to see that I'm going to start dotting in some green with a scruffy brush again. So I don't know why, but I decided to make like this green smoky thing around the peace sign. I just decided to do it. I don't know where it came from or why, but that's what I did. And then it looked pretty dang cool when I got done. I was like, man, I'm glad I did that. So I just used the scruff brush, and then I went back with a little black and kind of tweaked it a little bit. So now I'm using a toothbrush and some watered down gouache, and I'm adding in some pink splashes, and then I'll be adding in some green splashes. Now mind you, as I do these splashes and I put that paper on there, I'm letting it dry in between. If you don't let it dry, it's just going to smudge all over everything. So I was pausing the camera and letting it dry, and then coming back and doing more splashes and then pausing the camera. So you definitely want each one of those to dry. Now you can do the whole rock with splashes and then put your alien in if you want. That's totally up to you. I just decided to do it after because I wanted to, you know, sketch my alien in first. So that's totally your choice. So I just kind of put it all around the alien head and then down on the right side. And I retouched the eyes. And now I decided to put a little blue just for a third color, the ultramarine blue and gouache. And not a lot, just a little bit, just to give it a little change in color. Now I'm let that dry, and I'm taking white and just a little bit. I'm just sprinkling a little bit. I didn't go crazy. I just wanted a few stars in there. And I did get a little bit on his body, but I'll go back and fix that later. It's a super easy, quick fix, especially with gouache. And I was just fixing up around his peace sign a little bit, smudging that in a little bit more. It's all about tweaking little parts here and there. Now this item that I'm using on the eyeballs is called Sherbet Kisses. You get it from Wanda, the thefoilingrocklady. It is a watercolor and it's super awesome. I love it. And I had this idea when I started planning this out that I wanted to put it in his eyes, and I just love how it came out. You can try to get an effect like this with maybe some metallic paint if you don't have the Sherbet Kisses. Different colors of metallic paint, and use a fluffy brush or a scruffy brush and just pat it in. And all I did was take all the colors one by one and just dab some in the eyeballs. Now I'm outlining it with a Posca 1MR. Bring that outline back in. And now I'm doing the mouth. And then I'm going to let this dry after I get done with the mouth. And then I'll be putting in shine lines on the eyeballs. Now, the end result, once it has resin, will be amazing with all these Sherbet Kisses and the glitter that I'm going to put on. But it is not it will not be resined at the end yet. But I will definitely post a picture of the final result once it has resin. Now I'm taking black opal and Glitterific, and that's my favorite thing to use for galaxies. And it's super chunky. Use your finger. Glitterific doesn't work great with a brush, but with your finger it works awesome. And now I'm just getting rid of those little white spots from doing the stars. And then now I'm doing the shine lines. And then make sure you let that Glitterific dry a good 24 hours. It's super thick, takes a while to dry. Let it dry, but it's worth it. I promise you. Now we're going to put a handy dandy quote, and I thought I would be funny and put peace out from space. I used a gel pen from Wanda's Etsy shop, the thefoilingrocklady. You can also use a Posca 1MR or any white pen that you like and you enjoy using. Use what you have. I just made a cute little font on my own. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope y'all have a great day, and thanks for watching.